What's up, you guys? We're back again with another episode of Dynasty
Dynasty
Queens.
Queens.
I am your girl, Nia J, and I'm here with my beautiful co-host,
Pamela and Nicole. What's going on, y'all?
We have such a beautiful and lovely special guest today. I'm so excited. We got Sabrina. Just kidding. We got Sabrina from Sistas in the house, you guys. Novi Brown. Okay. The beautiful.
Hey guys. Hi, Queens. I love Queens, so hello.
Okay, yes. Hey. I have to tip my hat to a queen and to a sister.
Absolutely.
Likewise.
Yes. Welcome to the Dynasty Queens house. We're so excited to have you. I know that you being in the industry, there has to be some type of really cool backstory. So I know that you were born in Germany. So how did that come to be? Because you seem like, your regular American girl. So how did you end up born in Europe and how did you get in the States? Give us a little details.
That's all because of my mother. My mother's from Harlem, New York originally, but her mother passed when she was younger. She didn't have a relationship with her dad. So she lived with some family friends, and when she was done doing that, this was the 80s, she was 17. She said, I'm moving to Europe. That was the time when you could call your friend's cousin, and hop all over to their house because it was kind of safe around then. So, yeah, she went over to Europe and spent about 10 years out there and met my father in a discotheque, a.k.a. a nightclub. And that's where they met. They started a love affair, and they were together. And they said they wanted to have a baby, and here I am.
Wow.
All these years later, I was born. That's how I was born in Berlin, Germany, all because my mom wanted to do something interesting and new and fresh with her life. And that's how I'm able to be born there. I speak fluent German. I have dual citizenship.
Oh.
So it's really been a blessing into my personal life as well. Yeah.
I love that.
Now, I do want to know, because, a lot of children, when they grow up bilingual, they usually learn the foreign language first. Was that the case for you?
Yes, I absolutely. German is my first language. And I know that it still plays out in my life because how I interpret things is from that culture, and that's how I filter the information in my head. But obviously I sound standard American. Now, when you really piss me off, the Harlem's going to come out, right? Period, because my mom's from New York. So when you hear that, then that's coming out. But yeah, it's actually helped me a lot. The fact that I have both, but you can't tell. Wenn ich einmal auf Deutsch rede, dann normalerweise Leute sagen, oh mein Gott, sie kann Deutsch reden, das ist like so krass, ey. But when I speak American, I sound American. You know what I'm saying? So it actually is really, really helpful.
Oh, that is really cool.
Look, I was going to ask, break us off. She just went straight into her German dialect. I'm like, okay.
I love it.
Let them know, girl. Okay, so Novi, a young, beautiful Black queen. So you're born in Germany. How did you make your way to New York? And was there like a cultural shift? Did you experience like a different type of, atmosphere once you moved to the States as a child?
I feel like I didn't have the words as a kid. Most of us don't have the language to kind of pinpoint the feeling. But it's just different for me in general. Being Black and in Germany is a whole nother situation, So, but as a kid, I was very protected. I was around people who loved me, communities that loved me. So I didn't know any different, And then I moved to America when I was 6. And I think that's a good age to kind of get both worlds integrated. So I feel like I have the cultural mind state of like a little bit of a European flow, right? But I have the hustle of American. So it's like maybe I have the spirit of that and the hustle of American. And I think it makes a nice combination because I'm able to still do the things that I want to do and have the ambition for myself and still be part of the culture. And I will attest that to my mother, who's had me travel my whole life because I was on planes at 6 years old by myself. But, I'm in New York. I was living in Brooklyn. I was living in Jersey. And I grew up on BET. I grew up on UPN 9. Like, I grew up in American Black culture. So I think I have a really nice balance of, the American Black way and the world, like another cultural sense when it comes to the European sense of the way, and kind of blending those together. But as you queens know, Black people, we're everywhere, right? We're very global. We're in many different continents and countries from all over the place. So I didn't feel much when I was a child, but when I did go back, when I was around 19 or so, because I took my, sabbatical year from high school to college transition, I absolutely felt it. I felt that I was different and othered. And so people in Germany would say, go back to your country. And then I'll start speaking to them in German. I'm like, what are you talking about? So those things, I think, came more into my viewpoint the older I got. But when you're young, you're naive, you're just hopeful and looking for friends and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of how my upbringing has been.
Wow. I think it's so important to make sure that, children are cultured at a young age, and the fact that you were able to travel, it kind of just opened your horizons, and your perspective that some kids don't even get to experience until they're grown, if ever. So I think that's so cool.
And that's cool. You mentioned that. I was actually going to touch on that, Novi, traveling at that young age. It's scary. Honestly, I know, like, just traveling, especially as a child, you don't really know what to expect. You don't know what's going on most of the time. Since you've been, traveling since you were a young girl, what is probably one of the most memorable travels that you've taken, either for leisure or for a job?
Oh my gosh, I have so many. But I have to say right now, one of the number ones on my list, I went to Africa last year. I went to Durban, South Africa. I did a movie called South Wesley African Christmas with my mentors, Bree and Chuck West from Octet Productions. That was life-changing, going back to the motherland, going back to where humanity and civilization started, I think just does something to your spirit. It does something to your mind, to your emotions. And that trip, I've been I've been so blessed with travel. Thank you, God. I know some people aren't. I've been so blessed my whole life. But going to Africa, just, it just doesn't feel like you have to explain yourself. It doesn't feel like you have to be on guard. It doesn't feel like you have to jump over all these hoops and hurdles and things like that, So it's a more freeing place to be. Imagine, ladies, if we actually grew up in a place where we didn't have to explain who we were. That in and of itself, I think is revolutionary and wild and life-changing. So I am going to Africa. That was my first time earlier that year, but then God blessed me again, and I went to Lagos in October last year. So it was just, I feel there's something there, and I want to tell my audience, especially my African-American audience, that we should be exploring the world. We should be getting our passports. We should be going to places where we're respected and loved, as well.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that's so fascinating. Like, I just imagine just landing in the homeland and touching that ground and just, feeling the energy and the vibes of the ancestors and knowing that you're home. And like you said, you were in the right place. I really like that.
Yeah, right place, right time. It was amazing. I even got to meet the Zulu people. We went to the Zulu land, which is the oldest nation in the world. I got to meet the Queen Mother. And her daughter's like, Sabrina. I'm like, this is crazy, right? You would never think that whatever you do would travel that far, and travel through that many generations. So it just felt like I was being recognized. And I will say I'm very lucky to have been born where I was and to be raised, excuse me, the way that I was raised. But there is a sense of community that I'm looking for. There's a sense of family that I'm looking for, that I'm reaching out for. So that it's been just really a blessing that I was able to even get to that side of the world, because many people dream of that and they've never gotten there. Right. So now my next step is to take my mom. Cool. Have a good time doing it.
Yes. So I have to ask, Novi. So, how old were you when you realized that acting was your calling, or did you even think acting was your calling? How did you get into the industry?
I was the type of child who tried a lot of things, and so I always tried to tell parents, leave your kids alone if they change their mind. It's okay. We will find our way, right? My mom isn't necessarily a show mom, so she didn't have me just do theater. I was doing karate and piano and theater and just different things to see what I liked. But at 17, I took it seriously. I went to CCNY in Harlem. I got a degree in theater, graduated, one of the top of my class. And I was like, okay, what do I want to do with this? And obviously the goal is film and TV, but I wanted to get the bones, which theater is me. I am theater. And so that's kind of where I started. I lived in New York City. I got into modeling, right? Usually the route for a lot of Black actors is going to the hair care products, right? Yeah. The Bronner Brothers show and doing the hair shows. That's why you see a lot of famous celebrities today on the hair dye boxes and stuff like that, because it's just part of the journey to get to where we were. And so at 17, I really made the decision to do it. We moved to New York City at that time. And yeah, I worked 2-3 jobs, nighttime jobs. I was going to school Monday and Wednesday, the full stack days when you're there for 2 days a week. And then I was auditioning on all the days that I had off. So that was my hustle in my early 20s. And I finally booked a big commercial for ORS, and I became a spokesperson, and I got me a $20,000 check. And I think that's the most money I'd ever seen. Okay. I was like, what? This is crazy. So I said, this is my opportunity. And I took that money. I bought an $800 Grand Prix. My uncle Randy, he drove me over with my dog. I didn't have a manager. I didn't have a place to stay. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a SAG card. I didn't have representation. I didn't have anything. All I had was blind faith, and sometimes life calls you to step out in that blind faith, and just go from there.
Wow. That was a testimony, right? I feel like we were receiving a testimony, which is part of the story. Man, that is.
She said that though.
Novi, I can only imagine as a young Black woman in your 20s, you're out in the field trying to get into the industry. How many auditions did you go on in a week's time? Did it become like just too much at some point? Did you think about giving up? How did you keep going? I need to know.
Man, first of all, if people are doing it right, because some people say they're doing something and they're not doing it. We know that. But for the actors who are really out there grinding, and family members, come here, listen close. I'm going to say this real nice. I'm going to hold your hand. We interview more than any person you will meet in your entire life. I think actors interview for more jobs than any human being on this earth if they're really in it. Just this week, thank you for asking this question, by the way, I have 3 auditions just this week. Mm-hmm. So now I have to coach with my coach. I have to get on tape. I have to send it in. I have to research. I have to read. We're always reading. We're always interpreting. We're always breaking down things. We're always psychoanalyzing things. So when it comes to auditions, actors who are really out there, and whether you have a team or not, even when I didn't have a team, I was on backstage.com, guys, Actors Access, Showfax, casting networks. I was on all the websites that actors need to be on. Especially in New York, I was probably auditioning a month, 15, 20 times minimum, on top of my full-time jobs, plural, on top of me having to study and be in class, and on top of me being a young, beautiful woman in New York trying to live my best life. So it's a hustle, it's a grind, and it doesn't stop. Just because I'm on a show right now doesn't mean jobs are being handed to me, and I don't need nobody thinking that. That's not how this business works. And I'm not here to paint a false narrative. This is a hustle mentality, right? Because people in my industry, they're not really watching TV. This is for the public. But people in the industry, until you make something that's award worthy, or, you know what I'm saying, a tastemaker or something that goes viral, people in the industry are not paying attention because they're making stuff. So what do I have to do? Right now, I have to spend a lot of my time building my network. I have to be in class. Yes, I am in acting class, and I also have a private coach. I'm not playing about my longevity in this career. Yeah. So, and just because I'm on a show doesn't mean I'm getting phone calls left and right. I'm absolutely not getting phone calls left and right for opportunities. I have to work just as hard as everybody else. And sometimes harder because people think I'm not available. because of a show I did.
Yeah.
So you're fighting this constant thing where people think, oh, well, she's on TV, so she's booked and busy.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not. I filmed that a year ago.
Yeah.
So I haven't done anything in a whole year. And sometimes we don't work for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
Right.
I did this for 13 years with no series regular. So I want people to understand you have to love this. You have to love this business. You have to love the pain of the business. And you have to be able to pivot in the business. And that's why you guys see me now stepping into my producer bag, because I want that longevity.
Yeah, and that makes so much sense. And I do respect your transparency so much, because I know a lot of people will sit down and interview and just tell people this grandiose story. But it seems to me that it's a continuous process. And you really have to pour into yourself, because I'm sure as you get older as an actress, you're going to have to evolve. Your craft is going to evolve. The type of roles that you want to, portray are going to evolve as well. So you're constantly learning. So it makes so much sense. But man, I'm sure that in the beginning you were just like, man, but 13 years without a series regular. So did you think that one day you were just going to just land this huge role, or have you gotten that big role that you're just like, this is the role. This is the one.
It's interesting. I've been part of 1 or 2 pilots before, but they didn't go nowhere, right? There's that happens a lot too. Yeah. Where you're getting hired and now you're excited and you're in the reading, but then it doesn't go anywhere because maybe money fell through, or somebody quit the project, whatever the case may be. I knew it was going to happen for me because I just know. I don't question what God has for me. Yeah. This dream has been in my life for a very long time. And I feel like God seeds you a vision for you to plant it, to harvest it, to sow it, to grow it. That's literally the point of having that vision, that third eye, right? Is saying, oh, I want to have a community center. Why would you even be thinking about that? Or I love feeding my family. Why would you even think like that? At 8 years old, you're in the kitchen cooking. Right? There's everything is with purpose and with plan. So I knew it was going to happen. Now, how it was going to happen, didn't know that, right? It was a complete surprise. And then on top of that, we got the show, and then we went into a pandemic. Again, it has colored my experience completely different. I was in the house. I wasn't getting perks. I wasn't getting free stuff. I was in the house with everybody else. Yeah. And then one day I realized somebody recognized me. So that's when things started shifting and changing. But it's interesting you ladies asked that, because I think 5 years ago, I would have been like a little bit more like, this is my moment. But I realized this is not my moment. This is not my moment. This is just my introduction. You guys are getting to know me. You don't know what I'm capable of yet. I haven't gotten to a point where y'all are like, ooh, Novi's in that? I'm going to go watch it. I have to watch it because she makes great artistic choices and I trust her, like our Taraji or like our Viola. We trust those people because we know they have a good track line. So no, I don't think my moment has arrived yet. I think I'm just still being introduced, to be quite honest.
Today's episode of Dynasty Queens is brought to you by Drip Top, the newest, hottest trend in fashion. You guys, if you love fashion, being a trendsetter, looking your best, you can have it all in the palm of your hand. This Drip Top app is what it's about. Fresh trends in fashion. Please believe me, we know what's up. Whether you're into streetwear, the chic style, it doesn't matter. You can be going out a night of the town. We got you. Make sure you check us out. Browse this app. It's at just the drop and click of the tap of the screen. Let's roll. Drip Top.
And the best part of it too is it's not just about discovering new fashion. It's about the community. It's a full-on community. So you can follow your favorite content creators. You can get tips and tricks to your fashion, whatever you want to do. And on top of that, you can level up your style.
Right.
It's a great thing. So y'all go ahead and download the Drip Top app. You can get it on Google Play and the App Store, Apple Store. And go ahead and look it up. It's Drip Top. DRIPTOCK, and level up your style today. Also, go ahead and visit the website at www.driptop.com, or you can go ahead and scan the QR code right here on our screen. Y'all, don't forget, stay bold, stay fresh, and stay all together with Drip Top.
Novi, I wanted to ask you, you're very elaborate in the way that you talk and, you emulate your nuances and everything. I know that you are more of a visual learner. Can you explain to our people what it is to be a visual learner in the acting age and what you do?
Yes, absolutely. I am one of those people that I need you to demonstrate for me, and then I will verbally repeat what I just saw to confirm it and lock it in my head. So if we're blocking, which blocking essentially means we're choreographing the scene that we're in. So if it's the three of us and you're seated first and you're seated second and I'm last, that's a choreographed scene. You would come in, sit down first, then you would come in, you guys would have a conversation, and then I would eventually come in on whichever line that it is. So yes, I'm very much a visual learner. I have photographic memory as well. I was one of those kids in school looking for the answer. My brain in the textbook, like, oh, okay, it was in the third paragraph. I can see it in my mind. So absolutely, yes. Being in a visual arts profession and seeing someone interpret something and then me responding back and saying, did I interpret your interpretation right? Yes, makes it very clear for me. And then I'm able to deliver what I'm able to deliver. But unfortunately, all circumstances are not like that. So a lot of the times you'll get hired for a job and you don't know the person. You could have a love interest and literally never have met them before. And now you're kissing and making out with them, immediately right then, like within 10 minutes. So you got to kind of be prepared. You got to be fearless and you have to trust the people around you, right? From the camera people to your scene partner. So yes, I'm a visual learner, very much so, but I'm not reliant on that because especially in the environment that I've been cultivated in, working on Sistas, we don't have time for that. We only have one take. So we come in, we do it. However, as I said earlier, I'm a theater grad. And because I'm a theater graduate, I know that it helped me in this format, 1,000%.
That's so funny. I was going to ask you that question because I guess I still can ask the question because I can extend it a little bit. So the first part was going to be, since you came from a theater background, we know that during a live production, there's no cut, there's no take a second take, there's none of that. You just have to go with the flow. So what is your experience working with a scripted series versus theater, and then also maybe a movie like film?
Yeah, working on a scripted series, specifically in the environment that I'm in with Sistas, is very much similar to theater. So it's almost like a live tape theater performance, which is where a lot of Tyler's stuff started, right? Which was live taping of theater inside of the churches with the plays. So the foundation is still very similar. However, what I have to learn is there are 4 cameras. So I have to play to all the cameras that are around me, right? Whether that's not blocking your shot, whether it's, okay, if it is something dramatic, maybe I take my, I look over to this side or whatever the case may be and open myself up to this space in the world. So it's more about technical stuff at that point. Also getting very familiar with your set. Your set is your best friend. You know what I'm saying? Your set, how to use it, the papers, the magnets or the purse or whatever the case may be, the chairs. It's there for you to live into it. And then the beautiful thing about being on film, where the camera people come in, and shout out to the entire camera crew, camera operators, cinematographers. They're so amazing because they're the silent choreographers. They're the silent actors, right? They have to follow what I'm doing and then catch what the other person's doing as well. So there is a synergy because I remember the first season I was on, my eyes are so freaking big. I would try to avoid looking at the camera because I said, I know I'm going to look at this damn camera. I know. So don't look. So I was doing the whole first season. If you look at me, I'm like looking down, looking down. But eventually I had to trust myself and trust the people on the other side that we would have synergy at the same time. So when it comes to scripted in this space that I'm in, theater helped. Now for film, it's different because you're only doing about 5 to 8 pages a day. That's what you're doing for film. And usually there's only one camera. A lot of TV shows can do single camera, but a lot of them usually have 1 or 2 just for backup. But many movies usually just have 1. So you have to rehearse and take it. So even though I might be doing well, maybe the focus puller didn't get me sharp enough because I sat back and then as I was talking, I was coming into the camera. So that's going to change the focus and sharpness.
Yeah.
But if it were out of sync, they're going to say, oh, Novi, do it again. So just be prepared as a front-facing talent actor. Just do it again. Your job is to listen and to execute. The best actor in the room listens to the director. Don't do your own thing until you're given permission to do your own thing. Because they want to nail take first. How it's written, how it's choreographed, right? How because the writer spent all those months and years writing it exactly how they wanted it to. Let's deliver that first. Finish that. Then the director, if we have time equals money, then we can do a take that's fun. Then we can do a take that's a little bit not as clean and as polished. And that's where you'll see movies where it is a little blurry. It is but that disorientation played into that moment after the original choreography was done in the scene. So yeah, it's definitely every set is different and every day is different and every crew is different. So your job as an actor is to go in and to ask questions. Hey, introduce yourself to everybody, even if you forget their name, because there's so many people, I understand. But you have to come in with that professionalism. Hi, my name is Novi. Nice to meet you. Hey, Ed, I'm your lighter. I'm your cinematographer. I'm your sound person. You want to know these people by, hey, Frank, how are you today? How's everything? Yes. Is it okay if I put the pack down here? Yeah, it's kind of irritating me. Are you okay? It's a team effort. So come in with that. Talk to your cinematographer. What lens are we on? Because a 50 is way different than 100. So you need to know, a 50 I can play. 100 is here.
Right.
That's a completely different emotion, energy that you're delivering. Right. So the more informed that you go, the better. Introduce yourself to people, listen to the director, follow everything they say. Yeah. And then do your thing.
And then go for it. I love that. Now, I wanted to know, you do a lot of drama series. That seems to be your genre. I know you're on NCIS as well. Freaking love NCIS. Now, I want to know, you personally, do you prefer the drama genre or do you like horror or what do you prefer?
I prefer everything, but right now, what I've noticed about myself over the past year, I said, I need to be in this comedy bag. People are sleeping on me because my timing is very good. Okay. And I would do excellent in comedy. So comedy is kind of where I want to play because drama, I could do that for the rest of my life. That's kind of how I see it in my head. Yeah. And comedy too. But I just want to see more funny women and women of color, having a good time and just being silly and having fun. So more comedy because I did Noah's Ark, the movie. And I played a small cameo role in that. And then I did the Wesley Christmas one where I played a really fun, free-spirited character. So I know I can deliver the depth because I come from Shakespeare background. I come from that really hardcore thespian. But comedy would be cute. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. So I can also say, Novi, I know that you're millennial. We are as well. So I think that millennials were the last generation of actors that kind of went through that whole thespian process of, you came from the stage background. How do you feel about the influencer turned actor?
I have many mixed emotions about it, but it's just like when our parents grew up and we were the dial-up kids. Remember, we were the AOL kids. They didn't understand that. Yeah. So the world changes because it changes, and that's just what it is. I'm very excited for more talent that is living in the middle of nowhere to be able to record themselves on phone and get an opportunity out of that. But I don't want people to get it twisted. Making a short clip and being an actor are two different things, right? It's a practice. This is something you study for a long time. I would never call myself a basketball player because I play basketball sometimes with my friends.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. I wouldn't disrespect a ball player like that. However, I don't know about you ladies, but the older I get, life is just not fair. Life is not meant to be fair. It's not meant to be if it was fair, then, things would be way different right now. It's not meant to be that. People are supposed to fulfill their purpose. And if one of their purposes is to be seen on a platform with millions of people, then I hope those people just take it seriously, you know? Not so much so that you're not living your life, but once you become a public figure, you do become some sort of mentor or a guide. You become a test point for people. And you have to keep that in mind. And I feel that's where the thespianness is helpful to this artistry, because there's a depth and a seriousness that is taken when we're portraying these characters and these lives, because you guys can watch a movie, it could change your whole mind state tonight. And that's not something to be, you know what I'm saying? That's not something to take lightly. So I'm just hoping that the newer generation understands. Well, you guys won't really understand necessarily what it takes to get here, but I hope that they create a path of integrity along the way as they're growing into their artistry. You know, that's what I do hope for. And baby, if you don't like the game, get out the game. You know, if you don't like having to compete with the influencers, it's just like all these businesses who didn't use the internet and didn't go online, and now your business is no longer here.
They're gone. I was going to mention really quick, Novi, let's go back a little bit. Yeah. So I think, you know, when you do have that kind of stage background, it kind of gives you the ability to be able to cry on cue, or, you know, things that are really important and crucial in certain scenes that may not give a character who didn't come from that background much depth. And we can kind of tell, you know, sometimes like when your favorite artist or singer is like has a cameo appearance, you can kind of feel the vibe is kind of not as authentic as it's supposed to feel because they don't have the background. So I think I know at least I can kind of be like, oh, you ain't really the actor.
You ain't into it. But my thing is, if you're going to do it. Get a coach, get a class, like do it. Don't play games. Don't play games, because there's, you know, and it's not about guilt or shame, but there's so many people out here. Acting is so expensive. Like, it's not cheap. Okay, going to class, I was paid $400 a month for classes. That's not cheap. And so when you're doing that, just at least step up to the occasion and get it. If you get in that opportunity because you are a musician or because you are a social media person, take it seriously and shut us up. You know, shut the people who are like, oh, you're not an act. Shut us up then. Go for it. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about it. If you're in the opportunity, like if I get an opportunity to dance, I'm not a dancer, baby. I will be in classes. I'll be in classes because I'm going to be good.
Right. Ania, I love that you mentioned about like crying on cue and, you know, having those emotions. Right. What would you say is probably the most challenging role that you've played emotionally?
There's an independent film I did called Spider, written by Desmond Heck. It took us 5 years to make this movie, and I was doing the movie before I got Sistas, and I was doing it after I booked the show. It basically Get Out before Get Out came out. And it's about my character who believes that she's not attractive and she's not desirable, and she uses witchcraft and spell work to change herself into a desirable female. And when you see the other actress, it's a white woman. Shout out to my girl. It's a white woman. So I think that plays huge in our community. You know what I'm saying? Because colorism is texturism. All of that is very real. And I think that was obviously the most challenging because I had to be the same character over 5 years with the same voice, with the same intentions, with the same clothes, with the same body type and all that. So that was a very long commitment. And then doing something that makes people feel comfortable, because a lot of the people who support what I do, I don't know if they've seen the film, but the people who have would be like, why would Novi do something like that? That's so weird. I said, exactly. But there's a lot of Black women cosplaying as white women. So let's keep it a beam, right? There's a lot of us trying to pass through, even if it's a survival skill or an assimilation skill, right? In the corporate world or wherever the case may be. That's a big topic. Yeah. So that's why, to me, that was definitely one of the harder ones that I did. And then the most physically challenging one was Alone in the Dark, because I got to do my own stunts. So that was amazing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I know we've kind of like tipper-tappered around Sistas. So I just need like a little background on that. How did you land the role? Did you have to read for the role? Was it something that they were like, oh yeah, we've seen your other work, it's yours? What was that whole process?
Audition. audition. I was actually on a cruise boat with my mom in Greece. I had no money in my bank account. I got on the cruise ship because her family friend put us on the cruise. He paid for it because we weren't together. Me and my mom were like this. So, and she lives in New York and I live in Los Angeles. So we got together. I had 2 auditions, one commercial audition and Sistas audition. Audition for that on the boat.
Oh, wow.
With a stick, with a tripod stick.
Yeah.
And, it's a freaking carnival boat. It's music and drunk people everywhere. So where am I going to get a quiet space like this to film? So it was in the middle of a corridor, did that. And yeah, so that was the audition that got me there. But this is what I was thinking, y'all. Got the audition, then I got a call back. A call back means, hey, we're interested. We want to see you again. That's what it means. Now, I said, okay, cool. They wanted to fly me to Atlanta. All I'm thinking in my head is, they're going to give me per diem. Per diem is a daily allowance that usually jobs and productions give you. $75. I said, I could pay my internet bill so I can look for another job. That's how my mind was thinking. Because I had been auditioning so many times at this point. It was just part of my life. It was whatever. So I got the audition. I got the call back. I saw a lot of people there. Like Cheeto was there. KJ was already booked for the role. I met her in the bathroom. There was a bunch of people. Mignon was there. It was about 50 actors. And I auditioned for it. I didn't hear nothing back. Then a month and a half later, I get a call from Kim Coleman, casting director. She's huge, y'all. If you're an actor, write her down. You should know who she is. She hit me up, had me come in again on a Monday. Tuesday, I got the offer. Wednesday, I got the contract. Thursday, I'm on the flight. And on Monday, I started working.
I know that's right. Just like
so that's when people say overnight success, that's what they think of, but that's what happened to me. And so I didn't have time to do a Bible on my character. I had to read 25 episodes. I didn't have time to really meet my castmates. We did like 1 or 2 rehearsals. The first scene was when we were in the spinning room doing the bike. But again, something just ordained by God. The chemistry between all of us, it is what it is. That's natural. That is naturally the chemistry that we have on screen. So I mean, it's been a while. I don't know if I answered your question.
You did. And I love that for you because I remember growing up, honey, I used to watch E! True Hollywood Story, and I used to hear about all kind of scandals and all kind of drama on TV sets. In particular, I would like the ones like the shows of color, like what was it, like Different Strokes and all that, like, ooh, what was happening with them? So to hear that you guys have that camaraderie and you guys are kind of in sync and in tune, I love that.
That's beautiful.
It's very easy. And it's all of our first show. So it's all of our first big show. So, just being new kids on the block, super excited for the opportunity. And we're all very hard workers. So when you get that combination with a big opportunity like this, we were ready.
Love that. Oh, by the way, I wanted to tell you congratulations on getting your Best Supporting Actress award.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Can you go through and just tell us how that was when you received that award? Like, what were your emotions? How did that day go for you when you received your award?
Dr. Natasha Weems, she had invited me to a community event that she was throwing, basically like a gala, and she honored me with an Innovator Award. Because you don't know how people perceive you, right? I'm just posting what I'm posting. I don't know how people perceive the work that I'm doing. I'm just doing the things that I'm passionate about. And so we had built a rapport, and she hit me up one day and she said, hey, so you're nominated for a HAPO award. I'm the one that nominated you. I was like,
wow.
What? And so this is awful good. This is not PR, because in the industry, it's a lot of PR, buying of trophies, campaigning. That's why you'll see the same movie over and over and over again, which is what a production company will do. But this one was purely because somebody wanted to see me win. And that, to me, I think is just really heartfelt. And then on top of that, it was a prestigious award for African Americans globally. So for me to be recognized again on a global scale means a lot to me. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't have nepotism on my side. I don't have connections on my side. This is hard work. This is grit.
Right.
This is the support of my mother and my best friends. This is determination. This is spending every single one of my 20s working every holiday. That's what this is. This is a result and a reflection of me staying focused on what I had to do. And for somebody who doesn't know me that well and doesn't even know my story, you know, being on EBT, having 6 jobs at a time, like literally hustling, like any of you out there, I was hustling just as hard and just hustling as harder now. And for her to even put me in that position and put my name amongst a Richard Lawson and all these other people out in the global artistry world is crazy to me, you know, and winning an award, and I'm number 4 on the call sheet. I'm not number 1, I'm not number 2, I'm not number 3, I'm the 4th person on that sheet. So I'm not the main character, you know what I'm saying? I'm a series regular, but I'm not the main character on the show. So to even get that kind of prestigious acknowledgement, it really put a battery in my back, you know, because it can feel very isolating, this experience. It can feel very much like, damn, I'm doing 200 episodes and I still can't get another job. What's up with that, you know? So it was very encouraging.
That's wonderful. Wonderful.
Let's touch on something that, I don't know if it's taboo, if that's the word, but it may be something that people think about a lot when it comes to the industry. But I have to ask you, because inquisitive minds have to know. I want to make sure I phrase it right. Do you think that in the industry, do you believe in like a subculture that is against things that are positive and good? Like if there's some negative, you know, negativity, we hear about rumors and stuff. Have you been on a set or have you worked with a director or a movie producer or just been on set or around someone who gave you that type of vibe or the wrong type of energy? You're a young woman that's looking to get into the industry. What signs are we looking for? What are we looking out for?
Someone who disrespects you, disvalues you, tries to make it seem like your ideas bring no value to the group and the collaboration. Yeah, I mean, just like many other industries, right? It's not just my industry, but there's egos in every industry. Education, in the medical field, in politics. So it goes across everywhere. And that's just I think that's the human plight, right? That's the human struggle, is thinking that you're better than somebody. Not realizing, baby, we're all on borrowed time. So just.
Very true. So where's the balance? Where's the balance though between that ego versus, you know, being humble enough to be like, you know, damn, or just being so on a high horse that you're just, you know, condescending. Where do you find that balance, especially when you start to get notoriety and, you know, different things start coming your way? What have you used to stay centered?
God, prayer, my intuition, and my integrity. Because at the end of the day, like, I have to be at peace with myself and the decisions I make. You know, I'm not going to sit there and let someone disrespect me. It won't happen. It's not a thing that's going to go over for me. And you know, depends on where you are in your life, right? Everybody sacrifices something to get there. If you have 5 kids and you're at work and your boss is disrespecting you, might not be able to quit, you know, because you have 5 babies to take care of.
Right.
I'm not here to judge no one's circumstances. We do live in an abuse culture. Abuse gets rewarded. Trauma gets rewarded. We encourage each other to stay in traumatic relationships, to stay in traumatic places, even down to, and it starts at the family root, right?
Very true. I was going to mention,
where we allow that one person to come to dinner, they should not be here. So there is something to say about abuse culture. And I mean, why do we love Snapped and Obsessed and soccer movies, right? And horror films and thrillers. And we love to see redemption stories, people coming out the mud. There's something about that. And I don't know what it is because I'm not a psychologist. I'm just I'm a commentator, you know, I'm an artistic commentator of where we are today. So absolutely. And art is meant to be here to help us come together and to merge and to realize, honey, that's a child and no child should die. I could care less about how you feel about anything. There's no intellectual pseudo bullshit you can tell me that it's okay for innocent people to feel unsafe. So
Right.
absolutely. But I think, ladies, to be honest, we're in the middle of an awakening, right? We are in the middle of it. It hasn't happened yet because we still have to deal with the fact that we're women and we're underpaid and all these other things. We already know if it's not happening in our family structure, it can't happen on a global structure. So a lot has to heal first, but it can't be healed until it's exposed. It
Very
has to
true.
be exposed first.
It seems we're in the season of a lot of exposures. I would say the past 8 years or so with Me Too movement and stuff like that. So hopefully we can have a safer starting ground for.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes, I agree with you. And so everyone's going to have challenges. Guys, don't think the movie industry is no different. It's not. It's a lot of insecure people running around trying to toot their own horn. It's just like your job. I'm still dealing with people. Okay, I'm still dealing with people. So nobody is absolved. And so there's no perfection. But I do hear the audience when they say the entertainment industry is very powerful. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's on this pedestal right now. And it does need to go through a cleanse. It needs to go through a purge. It needs to go through a change of hands, right? That's why we're seeing the same stories. It's the same topics. Like it becomes boring because there's no evolution. There's no growth. And and as human beings, we feel that as a society. We're like, we're not growing. We need to grow.
Yeah.
So absolutely. And at the end of the day, the world can only be as safe as we allow it to be. So if we want it to be safe for our daughters and for our sons, we have to make changes. And I think that's where our generation comes in. That's why we were able to have podcasts and chat like this. And because this has never been done before, right? You've never seen people be this vulnerable before openly. So I think we're making good headway.
Absolutely. Very well said, too, because I think a lot of people, like you said, they have just this one-sided view of what you do and what other actors and actresses do for a living. And it's the glitz and glam, and they don't see the raw, like uncut stuff that you've let everybody know about. And I really appreciate that because we've had a lot of people on our podcast. And I don't think anybody has ever really just dug deep and gotten raw and heavy with it like Novi has.
Who wants to admit that it's hard? Who wants to admit that you still have to do certain things? Like we said, there's a bravado and an ego attached, You would think, oh, she's on a hit show. No, honey, I got to work. I got to hustle. I got bills to pay. I have a family. I have goals. I have things I got to do. And I want to take my audience along the ride to see how you build a legacy, how you build a business, how you build something from scratch. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm not here to be right. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to try my damn best and be proud of myself when I'm old that I really said I did what I said I was going to do. And that's the thing for me.
Look, you are the queen of quotes because I swear it's I'm just like, yes, the click. I just love it. She talks in like flaming quotes. You know what I mean? I just see like quotations around a lot of her words. I'm like, yes. It's so poignant. What you're saying. Yeah, for sure. So, okay, we kind of talked about the dark side of the industry. And once again, yes, thank you for being so open with us. Because I think a lot of people believe that it's just simple. You just go on a little casting and you just, boom, that's it. There's your big break. But there's a lot of milestones and hurdles that you have to cross. So what is the hardest, toughest lesson that you had to learn? You had to just take that L and you were just like, damn.
Baby, no one cares about you but you. No one. No one will make it come true. No one will believe in you. No one. And I'm not saying it as in somebody's going to sit you down and say, I don't believe in you. They show it with their inaction. They show it with their lack of urgency, things of that nature. You have to make your dreams come true. No one else will. No one else will. And your team is the most important part of your dreams coming true in whichever field you're in. I don't care where you work. The team members that you're around, you have to be very, for lack of better words, ruthless. You can't allow, so I don't allow people with low integrity and low morals around me. You don't get to hang out with me. You know, that's not an option, because what I come with is not that. And then you not having integrity, that means you're going to put me on the chopping block one day. I'm not exempt. So for me, coming into this business, and I knew it before, but the level to which I knew it, a lot of the stuff you see from me is because I worked for it. I'm making it happen every day. I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning every day, making it happen. I'm investing my own money into things like my production company, into, I'll show you guys right here, but I have all this equipment sitting right here. I'm investing in myself. It's expensive. People are not going to give a shit about you until until everybody gives a shit. It's like high school. It's the same. Nobody cares until they care, And I remember my first red carpet came out, click. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. One picture. You do all that. No one knows you. But imagine if I let that fear run me out of there. Imagine if I let that feel of shame or embarrassment, which is normal. It's normal to feel those things, to be like, I work so hard, I'm on this show. But nobody knows you, girl.
Yeah.
No one knows you. So what you got to do, get up every day until they know your name, until they want to speak with you, until you create an undeniable value in the community that they have to check in with you. And so that's what you guys are seeing me do right now. You're seeing me create an undeniable value, not just as a front-facing talent, but also behind the scenes. So that's why it's so important. You are the only person responsible for your happiness. You really are. And I know it's really difficult to accept, because you want to think that, oh my God, well, I reached this milestone, so now everybody's going to want to help me. That's usually not true. More milestones you reach, the less help people think you deserve. So you have to get it for yourself. Get up out the mud. Your next milestone in your business is for you. It's for you. It's for you. It's for you. So I'm excited for where I'm at with Sistas. I'm excited for what I've done with the other films that I'm doing. But this is just the beginning for me. And y'all are seeing me get up out the mud, proverbially speaking, and trying to show you guys, I'm here to create value long term.
I love it. I love it. So Novi, tell us what you've got going on for the rest of 2025. What's in the plans, girl?
So I have a production company with my fiance, Malcolm J. Cook. We have our first film. His production company is Vectorscope Media. Mine is Scorpio Stellium Pictures. We just did our first short film last year called Drugs Are Fun, and we've won 5 awards already. And we're going to be screening it at the Burbank International Film Festival, September 27th at 7 p.m. in Los Angeles. I am so excited because to have my movie that I produced on a big screen in AMC that I grew up with is out of this world, right? That's number one. So please watch out for more projects. I'm working on my first feature this year as a producer. I'm really excited to bring that to my audience. That's that. I also have an astrology talk show, Conversations and Constellations, that I'm working on getting out. So if anybody's looking to buy my show, hit me up, okay? Hit me up because I'm ready. So working on my astrology, because I do highly recommend that everybody have 2 career interests, whatever you're doing, and then just have them separated from each other, just so your mind doesn't go crazy, right? I can't spend all my time in Hollywood. Like, that would be crazy. So that's also something I'm working on, producing more content. Of course, another Broadway move is on the horizon. Can't tell you exactly what it is, but if you do know, I did Othello with Denzel Washington earlier this year and Jake Gyllenhaal. And that was a full circle moment because I'm a theater grad. So I will absolutely be investing and producing more on Broadway, which I am hoping I get more people interested in. And you do not have to be in the entertainment industry to be an investor on Broadway or a producer. Just want to put that out there. I think it's a great place to look for passive residual income as well. And so I'm working on that. And lastly, overall, I'm just working on my mental health, That's what I'm making sure that's intact. We know a lot of things are in flux right now and in change. So just really working on tightening my community, making sure I'm around the right people where we have similar mind states. And those are the things that I'm working on for myself right now.
Ooh, honey, when we said booked and busy, she is not playing. I have to ask, but how was it, or what was something that Denzel Washington left with you? What is something that you will never forget about working with him during Othello?
Honestly, I didn't get to meet him, okay, because it's a team of 30 producers, like 30 different producer groups. So I didn't get to actually meet him yet.
Okay.
However, watching him work, of course, it's always yet, But watching him work, he has a similar storyline to mine. He went to college for journalism, for something else, and then he got into theater, and he became a theater actor, and he studies Shakespeare. So we have a lot of similarities in that. And watching this man at 70 something years old crawl on the ground and do 8 shows a week for X amount of months from February to June, and to hold people's attention like that, and to be at the pinnacle. I mean, this man can go to any movie and get paid all the money and not have to do theater. But he's showing his grit, his determination, his work ethic, and his discipline. And he's also showing you why he's the GOAT. He's showing you. So I'm just very motivated and inspired by him. We've seen him go through his physical changes. We've seen him also change, some of his things, like he doesn't drink anymore. You see this man consistently growing, consistently going to the next level. I love that about him. And I love how excited he is to reintroduce theater to a younger audience, and that he still has the ability to pull generations of households into a room. Ladies, the energy in there is crazy. Like, going to a theater is just different. It's different because it's all their own work. They're not relying on anything. No cuts, no edits, nothing. So I love that about Denzel. And I also love how he uplifts his family. They're all a part of everything that he does. So that's one of the reasons I respect everything that he does. And I knew when I saw his name on this project, I was like,
right. And it's really dope too. John David, he's really cool. I like a lot of his projects.
Absolutely. You see him working. You see their daughter, Olivia, working. You know what I'm saying? Pauletta's still doing the thing. They have their production company. So the whole family. It just shows me, put your foot on the gas. Don't stop. Don't stop.
Novi, where can our viewers find you on social media, YouTube, whatever you're on? Can you drop your handles for us?
Sure. It's at I am Novi Brown on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I think I have a Facebook somewhere out there too, but it's super simple. And then www.iamnovibrown.com. I post mostly on Instagram, where a lot of my things are, stories and my BTS. I like to give you guys a lot of BTS, and then you guys will see it in the stories, because how did I get from point A to point B? You got to see the hustle. You got to see the grind. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Girl, it has been an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure having you on Dynasty in the Dynasty House with me and Nia. And you're going to do great things. Like you said, this is your awakening. You are just getting started. We cannot wait to see where you go from here, girl.
Thank you. Yeah. I can't wait to see where we all go from here, girl.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Because I think we're all growing up together. That's how I feel about all the women in media. We're all starting at the same time. We're all starting at the same. So we have to support each other. We have to be there for each other. Yes. There's people who are in legacy media. They're 60 years old. They got their group of people.
True.
This is us. This is what we gonna do. So let me know when I can come back on. I'm so excited. I'd love to share my projects coming out with you guys. Queens, thank you so, so much for your time. I'm very grateful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, I am Pamela Nicole, and I've got my gorgeous co-host,
Nia J.
And this has been Dynasty Queens.
See you guys.